Hi, my name's Kat. Thank you for joining me today on this Pilates Core workout. I'm going to do lots of different core exercises in all different directions. So just do what is right for your body. Rest as much as you need, modify if needed. No need for any equipment, just your mat, and let's get started. We're going to start laying down on your mat. Have your feet hip distance apart and heels roughly in line with your sit bones. We want your hip bones and your pubic bone to all be at the same level. So it will mean you have an arch under your lower back. Okay, so that's your natural lumbar arch. We want to keep your belly nice and firm and still. Pull your shoulder blades down flat into the floor, and then just pull your pelvic floor up like you're trying to stop yourself from peeing, just about 20%, not like a full squeeze, just a hum. So that will get that deep core switched on. So we're going to slide your heel out without any rocking in the hips and any movement in the lower back. And then we'll swap sides. So as we transition from side to side, really firm that lower belly so there's no movement. So if you had a wine glass on your lower belly, you wouldn't want to drop any part of that wine. So we want to keep it nice and still like it's on a table. So if your lower back was pushing into the floor, your core wouldn't have to work as hard and your natural arch wouldn't be there. So this little warm up, this is actually a great way to start repairing abdominal separation as well after pregnancy. You just keep that firmness. You can always squeeze the pelvic floor a little harder if you know that you have any dysfunction in your pelvic floor. Sometimes though, women have too strong a pelvic floor and they actually need to relax it too much. So the safe way to do it is just a little hum or just focus on that wrapping of the core, and the pelvic floor will do what it needs to on its own. Let's just do 2 more on both sides. So really focusing on keeping the hips level. Good. And then we'll do some pelvic tilts. So we'll push your lower back into the floor, wrap everything in, and then return back up. Exhale, pull in. Inhale, release. So your Pilates breath is exhale, like you're blowing bubbles or blowing out a candle. And then your inhale is through the nose. Let's do 3 more. So that's another great way to repair everything after birth as well. Now we're going to come into that imprint position, push into your heels, roll your hips up 1 vertebrae at a time. Keep that little tuck at the top. You'll feel the hamstrings switch on, and then roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. So your mid back, lower back, then returning to that neutral with your gap. So I know this doesn't seem like a core exercise, but your core actually has to work quite a lot to stabilize in this position. And your glutes and your back is still part of our core system. So it's really important to make sure that's nice and warm before we go into the more difficult exercises. So let's just do another 3 of these ones. And then our last one, articulating through that spine. Good. Returning to our neutral with that little gap. And then inhale the arms up and exhale, circle them around. So just a gentle warm up for the shoulders as well. So no movement in the spine anywhere, just the arms. So we're not flaring into the ribs or squishing the back down. And then let's go back the other way. So trying to make those circles as large as you can. Everyone has different things going on with their body, so your circle may not look like mine. Let's do 2 more. Good. Then we're going to interlace your fingers, place it behind your head, and have your thumbs down either side of the neck. Now try and lengthen the back of the neck and tuck the chin in slightly. So we're only bending from that top vertebrae. So like you're saying yes to someone. So it's only that top vertebrae that moves, tucks in. Now you want to try and keep your head heavy in your hands. So we're not actually crunching with the head. The head stays in that position and we lift the shoulders. So try to keep the little gap. For the purpose of this exercise, we want to keep that gap. So we exhale up, keeping that long spine, long neck, and then inhale down. So if you're used to doing crunches where your lower back is rocking up and down, this will feel really weird. Both options aren't wrong. They just have different feelings and purposes to them. So keep that neck nice and long, looking towards your thighs, trying to keep your wine glass nice and flat. We pull in the lower belly. Try to flatten your belly as you crunch, lifting the shoulders, not from the neck. You may not get as high as you're used to when you're holding a neutral. Let's just do another 4. Now we're going to do that pelvic tilt. Tuck the lower back down, bring your legs up into a tabletop position. You have the knees roughly in line with the hips. If you have lower back issues, you may want to bring the knees in a little further or just stay with the option that we just did before. And then from here, I'm going to tap down and then lift up. Tap down and lift up. So don't let your lower back arch with this one. So we don't want a neutral spine, we want imprint. And the closer the leg goes, the more comfortable it's going to be. The further away it goes, the more your core has to work to stabilize. So if you've got really clicky hips, you may want to keep the movement quite close to the body. You may just want to stay with your crunches, up to you. But this sort of exercise works the deep core a lot more than just your superficial six-pack muscles. And then we're going to add in the crunches again. So we crunch. You can either do a toe tap and then return the head back down, or we crunch and do a leg extension and then bring it back down. It's up to you. The leg extension is going to be more load on the core and on your lower back. Let's do 2 more. Focus on that form. Keep the core wrapped in. Good. Come back down. Bring those feet down for a moment. Take a deep breath. They will imprint. Come back up into your crunch. If you need to stay holding the head, you can. Otherwise, I'm going to release the hands and do our single leg stretch. So keep your neck in that long position with your head nodding yes with the chin in. Keep your lower back connected, lower belly drawn in. You can stay with little toe taps if you prefer. Let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And drop down for a moment. You can do that again, or we're going to go into our double leg stretch. So we add in our arms for that one, and it's double legs. The higher your legs go, the more comfortable it is. The lower you go, the more you have to work. All right, so we come into that crunch position. We go out with the arms and the legs, and then crunch in. Look up, crunch in. Look up, Exhale in. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And relax. Whew. When you go slow, it can actually be a lot harder than when you go fast. You're really focusing on what you're trying to achieve. All right, let's bring those legs up. Keep that lower back connected. You can kind of sit on your hands a little just to help assist that position. Make sure your shoulders are nice and flat so we're not rounding. And then we'll do a single leg lower and bring it back up. So if you have really clicky hips, the long lever is probably not going to feel very nice for you. So you can come back into those toe taps if you prefer, or even heel slides. Just find what's right for you. Or you may not come all the way down. You may just do a half. Find where the click actually starts and just stay within that. If it clicks and it's not painful, then your discretion, you can keep going. But if it's painful, then it's telling you something's not quite right. So when it comes to muscle discomfort, absolutely roll with it because that's where the change goes. But when it becomes actual pain, like you really got to determine what your pain threshold is. You have to be able to push through discomfort. But if it's joint structure or ligaments, tendons, that sort of thing, then don't push through that kind of pain. Keep that belly nice and firm. Make sure your lower back's staying down. You have the option to stay with your single, or we're going to do double. So only go as far as you start to feel your lower back lift. Okay, so keep that lower back connected. This can be a lot on your hip flexors as well. So just push that barrier of discomfort, but honor your body. You'll also, if you're like me, I get a lot of tension in the neck and the shoulders. So also just be mindful of that. Try and keep it as relaxed as possible. Ideally, to remove that, you can have the palms facing up or the hands up. It just means you don't have as much support, so you may not be able to go as far down. To see how you go. Then you have the option again to add on a little bit more. When you come up, do a little reverse crunch. So you may only get your bum up a centimetre. That's okay. If you're getting as high as me, try rolling through the spine. So we're using every vertebrae and control as you come down. Don't just collapse down. Whichever option you're doing, let's just do 4 more. Oh, my goodness, I can feel that. Take a breath. Straighten the legs out long, reach your arms up overhead, a little back bend, try and stretch through the belly. We'll do 1 more on our back and then we'll roll onto our side. We'll come back into that imprinted position, legs up and tabletop, arms in line with shoulders this time. So we're going to do an opposite arm and leg extension, so like dead bug. Go out, funny name for it, and bring it back in. So it's an inhale, but it's an active inhale, and then you exhale to bring it all back in. So once again, you can do toe taps instead of full leg extensions. You can do this without the arms if you want to, or you may want to just do the arms and keep your legs hovered. Up to you. Keep your lower back connected. I can feel mine wants to start arching, which means my core is starting to fatigue. So if you need to bring your legs down, reset, come back into it, absolutely do so. We're just going to do 3 more. Once more, both sides. Excellent. Just let the legs go side to side. All right, let's roll onto your side. We're going to have the body in a long line and bring your bottom arm slightly forward. It's going to help us with balance. Okay, we're going to try and lift your arms and your legs, getting into our obliques, our side core. So we do a little lift and lower, lift and lower. So your movement can be super small or it can be large depending on your balance and what feels right for your body. So you have the option of staying with this. If you want to take it further, we do a little hinge where we roll onto the fleshy part of the behind the bone there and then lift up and then come back onto your side. So exhale into a nice kind of twisted V shape. And your bottom arm, just try not to collapse into that shoulder. You can either stay on your elbow, which is going to be a little bit more comfortable, or we try and lift all the way up. Wherever you are, let's just do 4 more. Last one. Awesome work. Now come up onto your elbow in line with your shoulder. You can either have the knees stacked and come up into a side plank, or you can have the legs extended and be in a high plank. It's up to you. So lifting up, reach your arm out. I'm going to crunch in and out. If you're doing the full plank version of this one's really, really hard. So feel free to start on your knee. With 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so then from here, you can either come back up into your full plank or drop down onto your knee. We're going to twist and then open. Go 4 more. Don't collapse into that bottom shoulder. Try and keep it pretty stable. It will move a tiny bit, but we don't want it to kind of come up into your neck. Let's do 1 more. Then we'll just do little hip dips up and down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Ooh, shake that shoulder out. And come into a plank position now. So elbows down. You can either come onto your knees in a half plank, or you can do this raised up. Okay, so we're going to twist and drop the hips from side to side. Now, if you have any lower back issues, your movement may be tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay, so honor your body. If you're in that full, your ankles can drop from side to side. Just keep your shoulders stacked over your elbows. Let's go 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop down. Lengthen the spine, bit of a child's pose or a high child's pose for a moment. Then we're going to come into a high plank. If you need to stay on your elbows though, that's fine. So now we're going to do a high twist. So we want the feet to be a little wider. You can do this on your knees. You're just not going to be able to twist as far, which is fine. So we drop to one side and lift. Come to center, other side. And also when you do this on your elbows, it comes a little bit more into your triceps, which is not right or wrong either, just different. Whatever is right for your body, you're still going to get plenty out of it. Let's do 4 more. This is the last one. Awesome. And release. Shake it out. We come straight back into that same position and do a little bit of a combo, so it's a little bit of everything. So feel free to just stick with one. Okay, so you can either hold a static plank, so just being still, elbows, hands, knees, toes, up to you. I'm going to be in a high one on my toes. So either static or you'll move with me. I'm going to tap to the side. Keep your shoulders over your wrists. Try to keep your hips as stable as possible. Make sure you're not dumping through the lower back, and you don't want your bum to be too high, too low. So find that mid-range. 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to go knee in, 2 more. Good. And then feet. Sorry, let's just stretch into my spine. My shoulder needed to crack. All right, feet a little wider. Then we go shoulder tap. So the goal is to keep your hips as still as possible because they're going to want to rock like crazy. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Drop back into a child's pose. Let everything relax. Take a deep breath. And then rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Interlace the hands behind, open up the chest. And interlace in front, round the spine. A little shake. So I don't know about you, it's my shoulders that give out in planks way before my core does. That's definitely my weak area. All right, then we're going to go over to the other side. That nice long line. Your bottom hand is slightly forward, which is going to help with your balance. We exhale, start with our little lifts. So you can either stay with this or we roll onto that fleshy bit behind your bone. Come up and down. So either keeping grounded on your elbow or lifting up onto your hand. So just being mindful as well, one side of the body may feel stronger or more range of motion than the other. So just be kind to yourself and adjust where necessary. And it's important to let go of ego with everything in life, but exercise in particular as well, because it's ego that gives us injury and it's fear that holds us back from progression. So you've got to find that balance. Let's do 2 more. Oh my goodness. Roll onto your back. All right. Now we're going to go into oblique crunches. So same setup that we spoke about earlier where you have your hands behind The head interlaced, thumbs down either side of the neck, feet hip distance apart, neutral spine, long neck, so chin slightly tucked in. Now I'm going to do obliques as a twisted version. So it's important when we twist that your hips don't lift up and twist with you. So try and keep that wine glass as still as possible. So we exhale into your rotation, inhale back down. Still trying to keep your neutral, but in this one, if you do feel more comfortable with it tucked, that's okay. So just listen to your body. And try and aim for getting your armpit up and over, not just the elbow, because otherwise we kind of cheat and we pull on the head. So this free elbow here, you can also help drive it into the ground to help with that rotation. Then you can add in a march. So we're going to lift and then bring it back down. So it can be hard to hold your neutral when you do a march. So once again, if you prefer to keep that lower back connected like here, that may feel more comfortable. One more. Good. Now we are going to imprint. Bring both legs up. So you can keep your feet down if you prefer. So now we hold, extend, bring it in, and release. Twist, extend, bring it in, and release. You can just hold without the extension if that's enough for you. And then if you really want to add on more load, the other leg can stay out the whole time. So that adds a lot of weight. You definitely want to be imprinting with this one. So lower back stays connected. You still kind of keep the hip bones aligned, so you're not rocking the hips from side to side. Whichever one you're on, let's do 3, 2, last one. Ooh, bring it in, down with control. Oh, take a moment. Hope you're doing okay so far. We're going to do the other side now. All right, so interlacing behind the head, thumbs down either side of the neck, to your neutral spine if you imprinted. And now just your oblique crunches by themselves. So exhale and inhale, release. Then I'm going to add on our march. So in and down. So that's 3 more. Awesome. Now imprint, legs up. You can just do your crunches with your legs here, or we hold, extend, bring it in and down. So remember with the knees as well, I'm kind of cheating a little bit by bringing them in, but try and keep them in line with your hips to make it a little bit more challenging. You can bring the knees closer to you though if you need a little bit of extra support for your lower back. Then you have that option of having your other leg extended out long the whole time. Last one. Oh my goodness, bring it down with control. And let them fall side to side. Open your arms nice and wide. Good, then imprint your lower back again. Bring the legs back up to tabletop. This time, I'm going to bring the heels together, turn the knees and the toes out. So we've got an externally rotated diamond or froggy leg position. Okay, so you want to keep that lower back connected. You can have your arms down by your side. Try and keep your shoulders relaxed but connected to the floor as well. Zip your inner thighs and point your toes. Flex and come back. So you can do this directly up to the sky, which is going to be more hamstrings, less core, or you can go super low. For me though, that starts dumping into my neck, so I like to keep it mid-range, which is my happy medium. So zip those thighs together, pull in. The little point and flex of the feet just gives us a little bit more focus on our coordination and then brings our ankles into it as well, so we get the most out of our time. Let's go 5 more. If I'm counting correctly, I think we've got 2. Last one. Oh, it can be a lot for the hip flexors as well. And then we're going to bring our legs up towards the sky. Hook one foot over the other. And we're going to reach towards our legs. So a little crunch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Swap. Again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Bring it down. Feet planted, hip distance. Push your lower back down, lift. I'm going to try and tap our ankles. So if you can't quite reach your ankles, that's okay. Just reach to wherever you can. Keep that lower back connected. Keep your hips level. This can hurt the neck though, so if you need to hold and alternate, you can. Good. We've just got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. We're almost there. Let's stretch those legs out, reach your arms up overhead, take a moment. All right, imprint again. Bring those legs up again. This time we're going to have our arms out wide with your palms facing down. You want to lean the knees to one side. Once again, if you've got lower back issues, your lean is going to be really tiny, okay? Keep your upper back really solid down. Your hips are obviously going to rock from side to side, which means that lower back's going to be up. But make sure we're not arching, so your mid-back like pulling forward and your ribs flaring, okay? So try and keep the rock into the hip area as much as possible. So you might be able to go all the way down to the floor, as long as you're not getting that overarching into your upper back. So this is really nice for the spine as well. If you don't have any issues with the spine, great range of motion and strengthening exercise. So keep that lower belly nice and firm. So as you roll through center, we're pulling in. Use your exhale to come back through that middle. but your inhale is still active because you're holding the weight of the legs. Now, if you're wanting to add on more load, we go into our lean, extend, adding on, and then come through center and go over to the other side. Let's do 3 more. Keep re-engaging your core because it will let go. You got 1 more on both sides. Good. Flex your feet up towards the sky. Pull the knees down. Push your lower back down. Our happy baby. And then release one leg, hug one knee in, and then come into a big twist. Reach behind, open up your chest. Come through center. Great, let's roll up. Only a couple more to go. Oh, the thing about Mat Pilates is you get the mat hair, right? It's all over the place. All right, so we're going to come into our Russian twist. So we tuck the tailbone under, so we're rolling through that pelvis. Bring your lower belly in, your pubic bone's kind of tilting up towards your face. And we want to try and keep the hips in cement. So when we do our twist, what usually happens is the legs and the hips are doing this funky movement. You're not going to get as much out of the core if you let your hips go. So try and keep that tuck, keep everything cemented still, and just rotate from your thoracic spine, so your shoulders, your upper back. So keep the scoop, making this beautiful C shape with your body. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reach up and roll over around the spine. We're going to flip over onto all fours. Hands under the shoulders, spread your fingers, knees under the hips. Our last exercise is our bird dog. So we reach opposite arm and leg out long. Now you have the option, if your balance is a little challenged, just to stay here and that's enough. Otherwise we're going to go in and out. What I want you to be aware of though is that the leg doesn't come too high and you're not dumping into that lower back, okay? You want to try and keep, imagine you've got your wine glass on your back now. When you round though, obviously we would lose that wine glass, but what I mean is when you're extended, you want to try and keep that relatively flat. The booty will be lifting up and down though, so don't mistake that for lower back. So scoop in and lengthen, so really pushing out long. Four more. Keep pushing away from the floor with that supporting hand. And then we're going to go out to the side and in. Out to the side and in. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ooh, round to the spine, shake it up. All right, let's go over to the other side. In that nice long line, reaching your toes and your arms in opposite directions, or fingers, sorry, and either holding or crunch and extend. We've got 2 more. Trying your best to keep your hips level. Good, then we've got our up to the side and in, my goodness. Trying to reach the leg as far as you can without leaning. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ooh, round the shoulders, shake them out. Come all the way down onto your belly. Oh, do a little stretch into the belly. So ground down your hips, squeeze into your glutes, and just arch up until you can feel a bit of a stretch into your tummy. And then back. Hips in line with knees. Walk your hands out and bring your forehead down. Or if it feels comfortable, you may be able to bring your chin and your chest down. And walking your hands back in. So a lot of core exercises, a weak area for me in particular is that thoracic, trapezius, neck sort of area. So let's just do a little stretch to ease that. You can bring one ear to your shoulder, you can stay here, or if you want to intensify it, sit on your hand. And turn your chin down. And up. Other side. Turn your chin down towards your armpit. Chin up. And then bring your hands in front of your head and just push your forehead into your hands as hard as you can until you feel that neck activate. And then the same behind. To the side. And then push your head into the other side. That little activation just helps release all the muscles in the neck. Roll out the shoulders. We'll do our interlace behind. Interlace in front, round the spine. Well done. I hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.